What's good, YouTube? Sensational Sincere here with another video. I'm doing something that I never thought about ever doing. A vendor reset video. This is going to be for the reset on May 31st, 2019. I'm doing it because me and my friends, we've talked about it. We don't have nobody doing the vendor resets no more. I get the guys that used to do it, they're off doing other things. So big thanks to them though that we're doing it, and appreciate y'all because I definitely have used those videos to get me some gear. So I'm doing this video here for us that still love Division, that still play Division, and I hope this can be a help to the people that are still playing it, because we still enjoy the PvP of Division, or even the guys who enjoy the PvE, to the new people that's coming to Division, and like I said, the people are still playing it. So let's go right to this video. Okay, so for our first gear item, we're going to head on over to the base of operations and come to the Dark Zone gear vendor, and here there's a specialized bag. It has a 272 gear score, 1276 armor. It's rolled for firearms, skill power, and bleed resistance. This is a really good bag, I think, for any skill build or firearms or healer build. For our next gear item, we're still in the base of operations. Head on over here to the gear vendor at the front by the main entrance. And here the gear vendor has a prototype performance mod right here. 5.50% first aid ally heal mod. I think this is really good for any healer build. For our next gear item, we're still in the base of operations. Head over to the special equipment vendor. Here they have a tenacious mask if anybody's looking for one. It has 267 gear score, 860 armor. It's rolled for stamina, exotic damage resilience, and damage to elites. Also here in the special equipment vendor, there's another specialized backpack. It has a gear score of 275, 1282 armor. It's rolled for firearms, crit damage, and burn resistance. Also in the special equipment vendor, there is some Savage gloves. The gear score is 274, armor 989. They're rolled for stamina. It has assault rifle damage, skill, haste, and health on kill. So if anybody looking for some Savage gloves, I think these are a decent pair right here. Also in the special equipment vendor, there's a max roll prototype performance mod with ballistic shield health on it for those that like to run defense builds, and also a pro red dot sight. It has 19% crit hit damage, 6% headshot damage, and 2.50% stability. I think this is a really good scope right here for your weapon. For our next gear item, you want to head over to Kerman Station, and here they have a black market AK-47 for those that like to use AKs. It has a 259 gear score, 18% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is focused, unforgiving, and competent. Me personally, if I was to use this, I definitely would roll off the focused, and you can use the unforgiving and competent. For our next gear item, we're going to head over to Camp Clinton, come to the special equipment vendor, and here they have a rapid chest piece. It has a gear score of 265, armor 1743. It's rolled for electronics, all resistance, exotic damage resilience, and ammo capacity. For our next gear item, you want to head on over to Madison stand, and here the gear vendor has a prototype stamina mod 254, and it also has 2.50% exotic damage resilience. For our next gear item, you're going to head over to the ward, and here the gear vendor has an inventive backpack. The gear score is 271, armor 1263. It's rolled for firearms, and it has stability and bleed resistance. For our next gear item, you want to head to the Southpaw. In here, the gear vendor has some okay Savage gloves. The gear score is 269. The armor is 928. They're rolled for firearms, health on kill, SMG damage, and enemy armor damage. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to West 31st Street in the DZ. The Dark Zone vendor here, for anybody that likes to run the Police M4. They have one with a gear score of 267. The talents are predatory, responsive, and unforgiving. Also here at the West 31st Street Dark Zone vendor, they also have a small grip red with crit hit damage, reload speed, and accuracy. For our next gear items, head over to the West 34th Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone vendor here has some Savage gloves. The gear score is 273, armor 905. They're rolled for firearms, crit hit damage, enemy armor damage, and health on kill. Here at the same checkpoint, the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod, 7% support station range for those reclaimer builds. And also here at the same gear vendor, for those that like to run those sniper builds, the vendor also has a Omega rifle suppressor with 18.50% headshot damage, 2% accuracy, and 4.50% optimal range. For our next gear items, head over to West 39th Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. And here the Dark Zone vendor has a Tenacious Mask. The gear score is 269. The armor is 889. That's rolled for firearms, all resistance, and damage to elites. And also here at the same gear vendor, we have a prototype stamina mod 263 with 1% crit hit chance. I think that's a pretty good roll. For our next gear mod, head over to West 53rd Street checkpoint in the DZ. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a rapid chest piece. Gear score 265. 1761 armor. It's rolled for firearms, exotic damage, resilience, and health on kill. And also here at the same vendor, we have a prototype performance mod. It's max rolled, 2% pulse crit hit damage mod. For our next gear item, head over to East 64th Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. And here at this Dark Zone gear mod vendor, we have a prototype performance mod, 4% sticky bomb damage. For our next gear item, head to the East 53rd Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. And here the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod for those reclaimer builds, 7.50% support station duration, and also a smart RDS scope with 13.50% stability, 3% crit hit chance, and 4% crit hit damage. I figured I mentioned this one. It's not something I would probably use, but you never know, anybody might want to use it, so I figured I'd just mention it. For our next gear items, you want to head over to East 42nd Street checkpoint in the DZ. And here the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod, 5.50% first aid ally heal mod. So we got another one of these here in this week's vendor reset. And then also a extended magazine, 112% magazine size, 4% crit hit damage, and 3% crit hit chance. And for our next gear items, head over to East 40th Street checkpoint in the DZ. And here we got another Tenacious Mask for this week. This particular one has 267 gear score, armor 892, roll for firearms, skill power, and disoriented resistance. And also we have another prototype performance mod, 7% support station range mod for this week too as well. For our next gear item, head over to East 34th Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. And here at this Dark Zone vendor, we have a prototype electronics mod, 263, and it has 1% crit hit chance. Next gear item, head over to 5th Ave checkpoint in the Dark Zone. And here at this Dark Zone vendor, we have one of my favorite chest pieces to run for PvP, a Vigorous chest piece. The gear score on it is 269. The armor is 1754. It's also rolled with skill haste health and increased kill XP. And then also we have a loud vent break, 18% crit hit damage, 3% crit hit chance, and 5.50% headshot damage. These gear items, you want to head over to DZ2 Safe Room. And this Dark Zone gear vendor here has a refresh mask. Its gear score is 275, armor 916. It's rolled for firearms, skill power, and damage to elites. And also I mentioned this Reckless chest piece here. It's not really a good one, but I figured I'd just mention it. And it has 271 gear score, 1842 armor. It's rolled for electronics, health on kill, enemy armor damage, and increased kill XP. Next gear 5 Safe Room. And here the Dark Zone weapon mod vendor has a large suppressor with 17% crit hit damage, 2.50% crit hit chance, and 2% accuracy. And for our next gear items, head over to DZ8 Safe Room. And this Dark Zone gear vendor here has a Vigorous chest piece. The gear score is 270, armor is 1713. It's rolled for electronics. It has health on kill, health, and increased kill XP. And also we have a Savage gloves, The gear score is 266, armor 907. It's rolled for electronics, marksman rifle damage, enemy armor damage, and critical hit chance. And for our next gear item, head over to DZ9 Safe Room. And here at this Dark Zone weapon mod vendor, we have a small grip. It has 16% crit hit damage, 2% accuracy, and 2.50% stability. And then also a pro red dot sight. This one has 17% crit hit damage, 3% crit hit chance, and 2% accuracy. Alright y'all, this is it for my vendor reset video. I hope that this is helpful to those that's looking for some specific gear. I hope y'all liked it. Drop me a like if you haven't. Subscribe if you hadn't. I appreciate the support. If you got any questions, shoot me a message in the comment section or hit me up on the PSN. It don't matter. And I'll see y'all with the next video. Take care. Peace.